into positions of hopelessness and helplessness. The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a 3-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America. No, no, no. Not God Bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human. God damn America as long as she
This is it. This is the big time.
Okay. How do we intro at end of the year?
Hold on to your New Year's hats, fuck sticks.
Yeah.
It's the end of the year as we know it.
Yeah.
We're about to sing you a song.
Song parodies. Those are good. End of the year as we know it. Take off those glasses that are in the shape somehow of the number 2021 and stick them. I'll tell you where to stick them.
I'll tell you where to stick them.
This year was let me tell you, if I think of a metaphor for how I feel about this year with all of my creative juices, it would be something along the lines of, I can't even think of anything. I don't know.
Okay, how about this? If the ear was the one part of the body, let's just say it would be the same part of the body. The New Year's glasses, which you purchased, which have a 2 over your left, right? 2, 0. Yeah, your left eye. We're going to fold those and we're going to put it in this part of the body. And that's what the year is. And that's your ass.
I want to take the New Year's baby that was 2021 and just drop kick it out the fucking window. It's still a baby. It's weird that there's a new Year's baby every year because the old one is.
That's a common misconception. They're not human babies. They age far faster. They're in the shape of humans. That's true, and so you're very attached to them when they're born, but they're monsters. And by now, this is a 90-year-old man that you can drop kick out a window, and everyone will thank you for putting it out of its misery for all the fucking space it takes up.
Yeah, I thought it was the baby is 2022 and the old man is 2021.
Yes.
So the New Year's baby grows an entire human lifetime's worth.
And becomes Rip Van Winkle. Yeah,
it's like a Bogart.
That's so sad.
Bogart. What is that again?
Put them out of their misery.
A Bogart.
I was
the Harry
thinking
Potter monster to steal your fears.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking there's a new baby that gets put the sash on and everything. They're like, it's baby 2022, and then there's this other baby that's like still like off to the side. Like, excuse me, like I'm still a baby. You know, it's all like dejected and stuff. That'd be really insulting.
My baby? Yeah, you're just a washed up baby. You're like a Hollywood yesterday's baby.
All right, well, hello.
Yesterday's baby out of here.
Yesterday's baby is today's toddler, as I always say.
Thrown out like yesterday's baby. That's how this year's gonna feel. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. It's the end of the year. I think, time is barely a thing anymore, but what are we doing? We're doing the cheugiest year of all time roundup.
Alex chiming in. It is the end of the year, Jake. You're right yet again.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I thought it would be a little bit epic if we took our sideways glance at the year, looking back at all of the events that happened and kind of just tracked what went down, how it went down, because this year, unlike some years, was full of a lot of events. And with our young, hip perspective, we can decide if the events, one by one, were either based or cheugy.
No one has ever thought of doing this before. This is groundbreaking stuff we're doing here on the show.
I don't know if I'm using cheugy correctly, but in this case, it means unbased.
Yeah.
In science, that's acidic.
I've been told that it's for corny millennials. Cheugy is referring to me, basically.
Right. So, like, if the event was good, or if it's like Anders and it sucks. I guess is what I'm
I
proposing.
think I can evaluate things on that basis.
Okay. I don't know if you guys got the outline I've passed around. If you open your laminated folders,
Well, I got it. I'm
Yeah.
removing it from the
there's an
manila.
appendix at the top that should direct you to the different months of the year. I've tried to get one event for every month. There were some slow news months. So we'll see how that impacts the review. But I actually, as I was going through it, then started to worry that I had too many events and that we wouldn't be finishing this list of the year until 2022. So
Could happen.
let's take great... there were just so many events. We'll take great care to discuss the events, but do it judiciously and just keep your passions in check. Remember, today you are a judge.
All right.
Gavel. If you start this podcast exactly 30 seconds until midnight on New Year's Eve, the guy will be going, "God damn America," as the ball drops. So
Yeah.
It's true. And we do encourage our listeners to do that every year.
yeah,
Even if it's not New Year's Eve.
just do it all the time.
All right. So we'll go through these one by one. And I feel like this is a good one to start with because this is just a basic event. It opens up the floor to discussion. So January 2021, the New Year's baby is roused from its crib, where we just put it because it was born. But now it's time to go to work. And what is the first thing this baby do? Joe Biden is sworn in as the 46th president of America, and that's what this campaign was all about. What do we think about that?
Already? I'm mad at the baby already. This sucks. Yeah, no, this is a bad time. I remember he was sworn in.
Yeah, it did make me feel very sad when it happened. So I guess that would be bad.
It was my 34th birthday. My birthday's inauguration day.
That's really nice of them to do that for your birthday.
Yeah. It was still COVID real bad. Like it is again. And yeah, me and my roommate made a thing of trash can punch out of chartreuse, which is a green liquor.
Nice.
And we watched the Biden thing and drank a huge green punch bowl of weird potion.
It's green like all the money America's not making now that President Deals is out of there.
Yeah.
Right. And probably like the potion Biden drinks to stay alive.
Stay young.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Under his orb.
He thinks he's drinking a youth potion, but it's just chartreuse. That's why he's like this.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Go ahead.
I don't remember his speech. I think this is the first inauguration I slept through, except for maybe Clinton's. It may have been nap time for that for me. But I remember all the other ones. Bush, W. Bush. I was in a youth basketball game when I went in. It was Clinton was president. When I came out, Bush was there, and then Obama.
You should have played harder.
I know that. Yeah, it's my fault. But Obama was. I was in an Applebee's in Minneapolis. I keep track of all these.
Was
and
Obama
Trump
sworn in at like noon on like a school day? How are you in an Applebee's?
Yeah, I was the rehearsal for a play, but
I was rehearsing for Applebee's play.
yeah, I was doing a production of Othello at an Applebee's. Actually, it was quite something.
Othello finds out whose birthday it is and sings "Happy Birthday" to you. And
Yeah,
that's a lot of the play.
Huh?
Were you part of a coup? It sounds like you're lying about where you were on the day that
Obama. Yeah,
I was at an Applebee's. I can't talk about it really. Well, yeah, I have to agree with Jake. I find this event to be cheugy in many ways. I was still very down about the primary, although I did have some hope that we were gonna build back better and roll up our sleeves and get this country back to work, because this is like the prime of Joe Biden's face next to FDR's face articles. This was
Remember when
huge.
we talked to Kim Stanley Robinson and he was like, "Oh, Biden's gonna be pretty good." It turns out,
Yeah, that was hard for me
to become a doomer. He was wrong. Like, I'm sorry, but he's demonstrably wrong.
It's hard for me because I love him so much and he's one of my favorite science fiction authors, but there was a few parts where it was like, you dumb bitch, you haven't left your canary outlook in 10 years.
Oh, man.
Well, here's the thing, though, is I'm trying to think, I guess Nixon would be a more progressive president than Biden, but the bar is so low that, I mean, there's no way he's going to even approach FDR, but will he be the most progressive president since FDR? Basically, you would just need to not invade Cambodia or just demolish Cambodia.
Right.
And you got it. You got it, buddy. You just have to.
Domestically, I don't even think he's going to come close to Nixon. Nixon made OSHA and did all these public reforms and stuff, whereas Joe Biden's main thing is shaking his head at us sadly when bad events happen.
Right. Yeah, and we could see it coming. There was hope there, but he's, as we've talked about on the show before, hardwired at this point. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, and you can't teach an old dying president to just completely do a 180 at the end of their career.
Change
and learn
who
how
he is in his last year of life.
Yeah, because it's
it was so apparent in the inauguration ceremony, because that shit was weird. Did you guys watch the concerts and stuff?
I don't remember it. Was that the one where they played? They played that song from the '60s with a weird CGI background and the old dude vibing.
That was the DNC. That was the
DNC.
That was the DNC. But this is still in the stretch of time when everything on TV was super bubbly. Everyone was taking COVID really seriously in terms of television production. So all of the whatever the fucking John Legend or whatever performing, and then Fergie or whatever I think Lady Gaga was one of them. They were all just alone in these max headroom rooms with green screen all over the place and a camera just going in a circle around. It was fucking weird. I
remember the poet. The poet struck a chord with me.
On.
Because everything else seemed kind of boomer pilled, and then I was like, we remembered we have to do this, so here's one of these. She's rhyming.
But the whole thing was overshadowed, and this is what I think the only thing people remember about it. We remember American Carnage. I don't think anyone remembers Trump or Biden's speech for this inauguration. What they do remember is Bernie with the mittens sitting with his arms crossed. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. Damn, that was this year. That's fucking weird to think about.
I feel so old. I feel much like baby New Year 2021. This year has squeezed me.
That was old man 2020 when in that chair inhabiting Bernie Sanders' body. Actually.
That's right. Bernie is one of the babies from New Year's.
Bernie is 1964. And that's why he looks like that. He's outlived his life by many, many generations. Okay, well, we got a lot of these. So I'm going to go ahead and say that our official delegation for this one, Joe Biden gets sworn in, a little bit of Cheugy. What's the sound effect for that going to be, do you think?
Cheugy. You don't have one right now. I don't know what the...
It's probably going to be
it
could be a splat.
You're going to go back in over this and insert a Cheugy sound?
That's right.
That's the Cheugiest way to do it.
Insane.
I have a whole audio library of sounds. Do you need knives in a drawer? Because that's one of them.
Yes.
Insane.
If anybody has any ideas for Cheugy or for Based, you write in.
Choo-choo.
Let me know.
Choo-choo train.
Choo-choo train. Okay. I do have a choo-choo train for my other podcast, so that's fine. All right.
Choo-choo train.
Up next. You know what? I was going to do the GameStop thing, but let's do that one after this. Quickly, January 6th revolt, the insurrection that shook the democratic foundations of this country to its core.
Based as fuck. This is the greatest day in
It's one of the only based things that's ever happened, actually.
It's very cool. I think it might be the funniest thing that's ever happened in America.
Even if you don't like it and you think it was bad, you gotta admit, it was based.
One of their people died. And then, like, remember...
it was all off-duty cops trying to kill cops. It was insane.
Yeah. I don't even know how much of this is real, but there were all these great urban legends about, like, oh, one of the guys got tased in the balls and had a heart attack and died. And, like, everyone was having too much fun just laughing about it to look up whether that really happened. Because it doesn't matter.
I'm not... Don't look into it now. Don't deprive yourself of one of these nice things. Of course, you scared everyone in Congress. So if you work in Congress, that's going to be hard for you. Mostly, though, they got inside and then took pictures wearing like a judge wig and took the gavel on the Congress floor and were like pounding it on things, and then they went home.
Yeah, it's hard to pull one of those off without like a military leader, which is on some level was somewhat surprised that nobody was, but that still wouldn't have worked. You would have needed.
Well, yeah, you'd have to be a military leader who's like, never show me the odds.
Yeah.
I'm sending in managers of Applebee's across America all alone.
I just watched 7 Days in May, which was the movie that Kennedy helped make right before he got murked. And it was about like a coup, kind of arguably what happened to him. But he helped Hollywood. He was like, yeah, I could see this happening. Like a renegade general taking over the government.
He's making movies while he's the president?
Yeah, he went out of town and he was like, you can film it while I'm out of town in the White House. And he was like giving them consultations or whatever. But that was an elaborate, much more elaborate
like executive producing of
the Airbnb out the White House while he was
still strange.
Yeah. He did. He knew it was gonna. Yeah, he knew it was gonna go down, kind of. But yeah, suffice to say, that was a lot more. I think you would need a lot more coordination to actually pull something like this off, and you would need at least some faction of the military, which is not really.
Short of a faction of the military, you would need any group that has any plan of anything, because this was just like a bunch of pissed off dudes getting together and taking pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really funny though, also because it like the libs, they think it was the most serious thing of all time because they got no theory, you know. They don't know that you need the military to do a coup, so it's like been pretty funny the entire year watching people melt down about like the democracy was almost destroyed. Like, what were they gonna do?
If your concept of democracy is like the parade we have to swear the president in, then yes, there was incredible damage because everything's all fucked up now from these idiots going to the White House. But
the thing, if it had been Bernie, if the shoe was on the other foot and Bernie Sanders was about to be sworn in and they were doing it then, libs would be fucking donating to give them guns because they can handle they can mentally accept a Trump dictatorship, a Trump coup government, way more than they can, a socialist president.
I thought you were saying if it had been Bernie storming the Capitol, it would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah,
very slowly going up the stairs. Maybe that could be a fun thing to do for this list: is go through the different occasions Bernie Sanders would have been killed.
Right, it's probably a lot of them. That's fair
okay.
Enough.
He sits in Pelosi's chair like when he's sitting, you know. Be cool.
Everything he would do would have mittens if he was president. That's one of the things I believe. Well, I think we got to give this one based, which means we're playing the based sound.
Honey.
It could be that. Who knows what it is? Up next, we did an episode about this. I feel like it's a thing I'll remember looking back on this year. This year had a lot of events, okay? This was the GameStop short squeeze. So a bunch of Reddit investors got together and juiced GameStop stock to like get at this one finance capital firm and made its value go through the roof. And they all thought they were going to get $100 million, and then they fixed it, and you didn't do that at all, actually. But was this based?
I'm not enough of a nerd to know. They seemed very excited, the nerds, about this.
Yeah, I think it made the CNBC's upset and made them wild out and stuff. So I would have to give it a based.
I'm split on this because I do think making like BlackRock sweat for a day is extremely based, but that the groups participating in this specifically are like young millennial investor types, which is the definition of cheugy in the classical sense. So it's in a way cheugy and based.
Boogie.
But I don't think it's like actually politically important or anything like that, but it was a lot of fun and I didn't really mind it happening. And any kind of like financial instability does just give me a quick jolt of adrenaline of like, what do we burn this whole thing down? So I did like that. I would give it a base. I'm going to side with Anders on this.
I don't have a vote. I don't care about this.
Okay.
Yes.
That will be a third sound to be decided later. And now we're finally out of January. The baby is crawling around the room.
What is 1/12 of like a human life? How old is it? Maybe
it's just a leg.
Assuming a human lives to be 100 years.
It grows like
just a leg.
Okay. It's like a reversed hangman. Well, I guess it's regular hangman.
Hangman, but with a baby.
That's not what it is, though. It's a Bogart. We've all decided. Well, if a human lives to be 100, 1/12 of 100 is like 8.5, I think. Or is it 12.5?
Whoa,
12.5.
Mr. fucking calculator brain over here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this guy, this math magician that's with us, divided 12 out of 100 and got 12.
I could not do that.
Well, first I got 8.
Yeah.
Let's keep that part in mind. But it is 12.5. It's half of a quarter, and that's how you get the shortcut there. But
no, I admire that because, and I haven't discussed this publicly, but I did a segment a while ago for Redacted where I had a math joke and someone gave me a note that I took without double checking. I won't say who. And the joke ended up being about being wrong, like the math in the joke. I was like, to give you an idea of how much this is, it's take this and do that. And then everyone in the comments was like, that's not what that is. You got the math wrong.
This went out on air? Like no
this
one
was,
stopped
this is
you
on
at
YouTube.
any point?
Yeah.
That's really tough.
So I admire your... I mean, maybe you're wrong too. I have no way of knowing, but
I am not wrong about this.
Okay.
Well, this is very simple math, but this is all besides the point. Neither based nor cheugy, unlike the events of 2021 as we move into February.
Let's move on. Eyes on the prize.
Eyes on the prize here. There's a lot of months. Again, we're only 12.5 right now. Okay, so February, a kind of a slow news month. We have the Biden administration settling into its easy chair in the old folks' home of the Democratic Party. The U.S. formally regains the Paris Climate Accords after President Trump officially called it fake and gay.
That is based that he did that.
He did many based things, and we hate to see it. It is worth noting that this year is also the same year that we were definitively above 1 degree Celsius pre-industrial levels, which was the 2015 goal of the Paris Climate Agreement of like the amount to stop. So we're already past the previous agreed upon stopping point.
I knew we had Mr. Math over here. What do we have, Mr. Science too? Holy shit.
I made an outline.
Cheugy. That's the atmosphere being cheugy, not based.
Yeah. I think it was cheugy of him to rejoin Paris because everyone expected him to do it. And if he was serious, which he's not, he would have said, fuck the Paris Agreement. It's non-binding. We need something with teeth. Although
Right.
being the president of the United States would have absolutely no credibility to sort of begin that process, but still.
I have to agree with Anders yet again. Although it is maybe an important step to continue this very important conversation, it is somewhat cheugy and not based. Whereas leaving it and calling it completely made up by the Chinese, pretty based.
So, yeah, should have done something with the fucking. He just rejoined it. I don't know. I guess he stopped a pipeline or two, but like actually
And then
shove something
sold
through.
more pipelines than have ever been sold before,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, I mean legally, I think they have to, but still, like at least
This is the frustrating thing about Biden is it's not that he doesn't believe in climate change, which would make way more sense on like a through line of what his actions are, but it's that he believes in it, and it's sad that he's going to make it happen to you.
right. There's some sort of cultural exchange where we could witness that sort of mentality and satirize it before millions.
Yes, indeed.
Getting meta about an episode that we on the timeline have already released as this comes out.
Yes.
That's true. Please consider the age of baby New Year when you make these comments.
Was he like 24 now? And he's
Right. If we're all in agreement that he was cheugy in February, we are on to March.
Okay. March, the longest month of the year, I think. It's like the Wisconsin of months.
Just
Like
in
the
your
Wisconsin
opinion?
month.
Yes.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Totally
when
get it.
if you've ever done a road trip across the country, like gone the upper Midwest, Wisconsin is the longest state to drive through. Is that literally true? Perhaps not, but it feels that way 100%. March feels like the longest month because
On a
it's
metafictional level.
yes,
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
I
it.
agree
There's like
with
no
that.
holidays in it, really.
yeah.
No
St. Patty's
holidays.
Day, and that's even in the middle of the month. Usually, a holiday is at the end, and
It's
We
it's
still got
mostly
more March.
seasonal, I think, especially with climate change. Around March is when we're getting all the cold weather that used to come in December.
yes,
Completely anecdotally, but I've had some very slow news day marches in my life, and this one felt pretty slow, except for this very exciting event I am thrilled to bring up again, which is at one point the ship, the Ever Given, which brings millions of containers around the world, went in the Suez Canal and somehow got turned sideways for 6 days, stopping all international trafficking.
Undeniably based.
Probably the
it's
most base thing that happened all year, I'm going to say.
hard to call that one cheugy because millennials have grown up with things on demand. You know, our quality of life is disintegrating and all that, but we have products and goods and crap coming in, out, and we don't think about it. And this caused us to do a little bit of that.
We had on-demand cable. We were one of the first ones with that.
Right.
If everybody remembers that, it's on demand, they'd say. It's on demand.
Yeah. The boat was cool. Did anything else happen in that month?
Not really. It is interesting, though, the way the news works. Like, I was researching for this, and I said, oh, March was the month the Ever Giving got stuck in there. And then my wife thought it was still in there. Like, the boat got turned sideways. They just could never get it out. It shows how, like, quickly this kind of drops from our, like, cultural focus. But, yeah, if that boat was really stuck, they would have fucking blown it up from space. There was no way there was any world where the Suez Canal is staying blocked like that.
Yeah. I'm reading the Wikipedia. Aftermath of the Myanmar coup. No, that happened before that, though. Yeah, March is boring.
It's such a long month, and it's like you said, it's
such a long.
In Minnesota, it is literally just winter, and that's why it's so maddening. Is because you're kind of out of the tunnel in April, although it does snow in April sometimes. But March is just like, this is in theory supposed to be a spring month, but we all know it's going to be fucking snowing and freezing cold this entire fucking thing.
Yeah. Every moment there was an issue with the supply chain, there was a brief glimmer of hope of like, oh, maybe maybe it all comes down now and our lives get to have meaning. But I didn't think that was going to happen with the boat.
I bet, there was some like real life Tyler Durden situation with the guy piloting it. It was like, we're going to create anarchy just with this one
Or
thing.
his brain was split and he was asleep and he didn't know he was doing it, you're saying?
Right. And that's probably in Fight Club, in the real life version of that. If that had happened, they would have just like, it would have been like 9/11. The corporate state or whatever you want to demonize would have used that to consolidate all of its power and just, make things even worse.
That's the bombing in Fight Club is weird because it would have been like the biggest terrorist attack in our nation's history in 1999, but also like only 100 people would die because it was in the middle of the night.
Right. Maybe I would love to be wrong about the credit card scores going out or whatever, but I think the credit card companies just would have become more fucking powerful.
Damn.
Which is kind of what happened with logistics companies and this Suez Canal situation.
You think logistics companies became more powerful?
I think they have over the pandemic.
On this thing is going to be how they're doing such a bad job starting in the fall of this year, and there's that whole supply chain crisis.
Right, but which is we'll get to that, but yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that. No, but we all agree that the boat was based, and so we have to move into April. April's got some good stuff. April is around when everyone started getting access to the COVID vaccines in America, and getting one isn't super easy. But there's we're all generally under the belief that COVID will be #over by the summer. And we can all go back to living our lives of decadence and eating grapes out of each other's hands.
And looking back on this year is making me sad. This is
There's so much left.
No. It's just God. I remember this now. It seemed like it was all going to be over, and you could go outside and stuff again. And it's not over.
No. This pandemic, I have gotten back into sports, and as a result, I've been watching commercials. And there's a really sad one that has been airing with Post Malone, where he goes into a bar, and the bar is empty, and the bartender kind of like shrugs his shoulders, and then Post Malone's like, "Wait, I'll be right back." And he brings just this sea of people into the bar, and they're like, "Yeah." And he says, "We've worked hard to get these moments back. Let's enjoy them." And they drink Jägermeister. And not so fast, buddy. I'm sorry, but that bar is now closed. That bar just went out of business. That bar is getting shut down. Windows shuttered. It's going bankrupt yet again. All right.
I officially put it in a calculator. 100 divided by 12 is 8 1/3.
Okay, so you're off by 0.1?
Well, you confused me into dividing 100 by 8 at some point, and then I started calculating for that. And then I was like, yeah, there's 8 months in a year, and so this baby's age has been all over the place is what I'm trying to say. But by April, the baby would be like 35, so like around contemporary. The baby is our age by April, and it's getting its vaccine.
I had it completely wrong. In February, it was like 17, and then in March, he was like 25.
Yeah. It's 33 1/3 in April. So
okay, so when the boat was stuck and he was having a Cheugy meaningless month, he was 25. That tracks. That's 25. Just partying. There's a big boat. Everyone's making hentai out of it and shit.
Yeah, everyone was making hentai out of a boat back then.
Remember, and there were pictures of there were drawings of the boat personified as like a woman with a big ass.
Oh yeah, and it's like, you're not mad at me, are you? And it's like, no, you're just a big sexy boat.
Okay, all right. And now in April, when the vaccines are coming out, you're in your 30s.
Yes. And in your 30s, do you think access to these early vaccines is in fact based, or is it Cheugy in a way?
Well, I think it's a trick because it seemed based, but it's actually turned out to be Cheugy.
Right. It's like when you think you're taking the red pill, but there's a blue pill inside of it.
Yeah. Although, I mean, it did, like, it's complicated because it's like a placebo effect. Because the thing is, we did go outside for the middle of this year post getting vaccinated, but I think we could have done that without the vaccine. Like didn't really happen because of the vaccine. I mean, I guess it socially happened because of the vaccine. Like everyone was like, okay, we can do this now.
I wouldn't have been comfortable going to bars and inside and stuff without the vaccine for the middle of the year. As a matter of fact, until last month, I was totally ready to just keep doing that. But I have to say based for this one. I got sick on my birthday and played Civilization 6, which kind of sucked, but from the vaccine. But then after that, I got to go back to doing normal things. So I have to give a based for vaccine access in America.
Yeah, it's based. I don't know why I'm sad when I'm saying that. You should get vaccinated. If anyone's listening to this, they're a crazy anti-vaxxer, you should shut up, get vaccinated.
If you're listening to this, it's based to get vaccinated.
Yeah. It's, calling the vaccine based makes you cheugy. So this is a paradox here, and there's no escaping.
This is a non-traditional form of cheugy, though. This is a non-based cheugy. This is a new definition.
This is known as who's a famous Zoomer? Pete Davidson's paradox is that if you call yourself based, you are cheugy.
Yeah, there you go.
So
how old is Pete Davidson?
I don't know. I think he's like 26 or something.
I can't look into this. It will only hurt me.
He was a child when 28. He got it.
He's 28.
God damn.
Yeah, I think you got to aim younger than Pete Davidson, man.
Oh, man. I just don't like thinking about this.
No.
So fucking old.
The year.
I'm going to be a million-year-old, 35-year-old New Year's baby in a month.
Anders, based or cheugy for vaccine access. Let's go.
I just said it's the Pete Davidson paradox. I can't answer.
Number of sounds is going through the goddamn roof for this. Okay, up next in April, is this based or cheugy? Derek Chauvin is sentenced to 22 and a half years for the murder of George Floyd.
Extremely based.
I thought this was pretty based.
Yeah, it's based.
Unless you want to be like an annoying contrarian about it and be like, but you're abolitionists, but you want a cop to go to jail. That guy's annoying.
I just literally need this specific guy to go to jail right now.
Yeah, I'm for whatever society puts Derek Chauvin in jail. If that's compatible with your version of abolition, that's fine with me.
As long as we don't have abolition right now, this guy's gotta go to jail. We all started burning things when he killed this guy.
Also, the problem with abolition is that abolitionists mean reform, and people who say reform mean give the cops more money. So it's just a big word game, Mm-hmm. You would still be in jail if the type of abolition that's being pushed by, all of the Caba people and stuff was happening. So shut up. You're wrong. It's not cheugy. It's based.
It's based. At the time, I remember thinking, of course they have to put him in jail, and they'll have to put Kyle Rittenhouse in jail, or else we'll freak out. And
I really thought that when Rittenhouse got off, maybe we'd throw a few more Molotovs.
Yeah.
It turns out, no.
The perfect storm had ended by that juncture. But yeah, in April, things seemed like they might make slightly more sense than before we went inside. We were so young back then, when we were 35 in April. But coming to May, we were a bit older. We were around, hold on,
43 or something? How old is the New Year's?
41 and a half then.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And SpaceX performed
41 and a half.
Yeah.
Now he's got bleach blonde, spiky hair like the guy from Sum 41.
We were full of cum.
Mm-hmm.
And
SpaceX.
This is probably the slowest news month of the year. The only thing I could find in May was SpaceX performed their first successful splashdown. And I thought we could maybe talk about what's a splashdown.
Yeah, is that like a Nickelodeon thing?
I think it's they had one of their rockets get dunked by SpongeBob. I don't know, man. This wasn't the thing where like all the billionaires went to space. That was later.
Yeah, god damn, dude. Ugh, the sands of time. Splashdown. That sounds like
Smash Mouth?
sounds like Smash Mouth. There you go. Thank you for doing improv with me.
I think this is what sounds like what I'm doing to all these beautiful ladies who come back to my crib. So I'm giving them a splashdown.
I still don't know what it is. What it's they shoot a rocket into a pool? Like what?
No, it's
I
like,
think-
like the fucking little thing with a parachute pops out of a rocket and then lands in the.
And it lands in the sea. I remember this now. It's coming back to me. You can't land it on a pad, but when you land it on your watery planet that you're landing on, woo, and then it goes back in the ocean.
And this is still before Bezos went into space. This was
Yeah,
not
yeah,
Bezos?
yeah.
Okay.
Because he has a different space company.
Okay.
SpaceX sounds like it's either a porn site or it's like Latinx.
Right. It's a politically woke space company.
Or they sell like lube or condoms or something.
SpaceX is what I'm doing to all these beautiful ladies I take back to my house.
Well, here's the thing. It is a lot of these companies, and this is Space Force, is kind of like meant to, like, I thought it was really crazy when Trump introduced Space Force, but if you actually look at the industrial situation there, it makes sense that they want the government to subsidize all this like useless technology that's going to make a few people super rich. So I find that to be cheugy more than anything.
Yes, I find this whole thing to be rather cheugy in a way, because NASA already did all this shit, and why do you have to reinvent the wheel, you dumb motherfuckers?
Yeah, they're privatizing, public space exploration and militarizing it as well, which is also quite dangerous.
Which is very cheugy in a way.
The whole thing smacks of chug.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on 4chan in 2008 reading this headline. Good Lord.
Yeah, May sucked. Okay, come on. Eyes on the prize. Now we're 49 and a half years old. It's
Don't
June.
be a good guy, Greg, about it. We're not cheugy.
Oh, wow. Heard that. Wow.
Okay, now we're halfway through the year. We're in June.
Half dead.
Our children are grown. We love them.
The year was around, I guess, the same age as Anders Lee, who turned 30 in June.
Right, that's a big part of it. In
2
addition,
years older than Pete Davidson, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's right. They should have gotten you into show business at 15 or whatever he started.
He literally smoked a joint and did stand up at a bowling alley in Staten Island and then got discovered.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Story.
One of my friends in the industry was part of that process, and it was annoying to me. He took off.
Anyway,
Pete, if you're listening, I'm happy for you, and I want to hang out with you and Kim and all the wonderful starlets. Anyway, in June, a condo in Florida collapses in Surfside, Florida, killing 98 residents.
Oof.
Which I find cheugy.
Yeah.
Although an argument could be made that the collapse of America's infrastructure is, in its own way, based.
You think so? I guess if you're in kind of the Fight Club mindset, it might be. I think it's cheugy because this condo, I'm assuming, is a millennial itself. A lot of these structures were built in the millennial timeline when we were wee children. They fit into our generation and were made poorly and designed to collapse. Not designed to collapse, but just made chugily.
Made in a cheugic function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe it's either way older or way younger than millennial. But my sense is that this condo was built from the 80s to the 90s.
What we need is an infrastructure bill that will build back Based and not build back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can get it so long as no one objects for any stupid reason and completely tanks the entire process.
We'll get to that later. Yeah. You know what's weird about the middle part of the year here is that I think there's less news, but all the news is Cheugy over the summer, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Real life was Based. This is when we were doing fun things, going for bike rides and drinking in the streets and the bars. I went to the beach in June. That was Based.
Oh, I loved going to the beach.
Right.
It was so Based to do that.
One thing about COVID is it has, and this is already the norm in most countries, but it has allowed I think pretty much everywhere, I may be mistaken in some places this is not the case, or maybe they've rolled it back, but public drinking has been okay, has been tolerated because of the virus. So they're like, okay, fine, we'll let you drink outside. And I think that has reinvigorated the American summer.
Yeah, you know what's weird is a lot of the states, like the big red ones, like Florida and Texas, I went to this year. They used to make all their money arresting people for that, and then I'm not really sure how COVID shifted things around, but they like the states where things are the worst because of COVID are the ones where they just went like, fuck it, you know what, you just drink in the street now. And I think it's partially because like if you watch what happened with like Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, during the whole like freezing of the entire state and the grid going down and everything, he would like right after that happened, he went really hard on culture war stuff and like did things like released the mask mandate and stuff like that, just to like sort of rally his base and distract them from, you know, the fact that he just fucked up all their bathtubs and refrigerators and shit with the power grid. So odd side effect of this is just fuck it, you can drink in the street now.
Yeah,
not good. I've Based in its own, in the big picture of Cheugy, but Based it as an individual bit.
I would say the summer as a season is Based in that the individual months of it are in fact in many cases Cheugy, as we were exploring. Which is all to say, we're sorry if you were in that condo that fell down and killed you.
Yeah, that was not Based.
Thumbs down for that. And we're moving on to July. 7 out of 12. The Tokyo Olympics are in full swing. The traitor dog Simone Biles refuses to compete for her fatherland, netting America only 113 gold medals.
Jesus. Wait, really? That's how many we got?
Yeah, we won again. We won the Olympics again. We're number one.
And that's because we're willing to throw our athletes into the fire, basically, of famine and disease, and other countries are like, I don't know. Is that what happened?
I don't know. Other countries also do that, though, is the thing.
Tokyo hosted the Olympics. It was highly advised not to. Shout out to our friends at No Olympics. They'll tell you all about how Cheugy the entire institution of the Olympics is. Remember,
I maintain it should be held on Mount Olympus.
The only thing I remember from this, like, joke news wise, is do you remember the beds where they were like they didn't want people to transmit COVID by having sex with each other? Because the Olympics is like famously an orgy because everyone is in peak physical shape and on all sorts of human growth hormone and stuff, and they like have to live in dorms while they do this shit. So they made beds that if you if there are the weight of two humans on it would supposedly crush it
to stop COVID. They were like, you wouldn't fuck on a falling apart bed, would you?
Yeah.
They made the steroid monster.
They made the beds out of the material from the Florida condo. It collapses.
Oh, God.
Like paper.
Again, so sorry about that condo, but it is not our fault.
Yeah.
Okay, in the sake of getting through the rest of this, I would say we're all together. The Olympics were in fact Cheugy this time.
Yep, Cheugy.
The Olympics are Cheugy. People died, and the The other thing I was going to say that's Cheugy about it is they executed the Shinrikyo guy just for the Olympics to clean things up in Tokyo.
Is that true?
So.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
It was
How
a
did
couple
I
years
miss that
before.
shit?
It was a couple years earlier, but they were still like, we gotta fucking.
How is he
take him
even
out.
related to the Tokyo Olympics? He's been in jail since the 90s.
He could, mastermind some other thing for the Olympics.
Right. Cities
I would
do
not be-
crazy shit when they're trying to get the Olympics to come because it's that thing where they think they're going to make a lot of money off of all the fucking commerce that comes. So they just like throw fucking homeless people into a meat grinder and stuff who would be like an eyesore to, to the all the fancy people coming to town and shit. Yeah, that makes total sense that they were just like, it's funny that it was 2 years beforehand and they didn't just like start the whole thing by like
by cutting off his head. It's also Cheugy because another millennial thing. The athletes really only make money from sponsorships. That was my big fantasy. If I was to ever become a professional athlete, is I would turn down all sponsorships and just make money from the salary, which is a lot of money. Right. Not in the Olympics though. They don't actually. The Olympic Committee and all these fucking businesses involved make a shit ton of money. But if you're an athlete, you don't get anything unless you just put on a cheesy smile and go in a Doritos commercial. It's bullshit.
That is a Cheugy thing about professional sports, and that's why we're moving into August, month 8th of 12. The baby is now 66 and a third years old, I'm pretty sure. Let's check.
Still with, the brain of a baby, because it's only been alive for it's August.
Yeah, you can't have sex with
66.
this baby. This is mentally a child.
So you're saying it's a 66-year-old body and a baby brain.
I think that's what's going on with this.
Well, but also if it's going to die, it's kind of inhuman to deprive someone of sex, too. So maybe you should have sex with the baby. I don't know. It's totally up in the air morality-wise. But what I wanted to focus on is that the United States finishes its withdrawal from Afghanistan, horrifying the media, global capital, and the Western liberal order. The Taliban returns to power after 20 years, which I'm just going to throw it out right now. Pretty based.
I mean, I think the Taliban are kind of Cheugy. Just historically, they, came about in, again, they are millennials. As a organization, they are the age of millennials. The org is. So that part of
the question, Anders, it's not is the Taliban Cheugy, is the U.S. withdrawal Cheugy.
Yeah, the pullout. The withdrawal game, the pullout game, I think was based.
Nothing more based than pulling out. I ain't used these freaking condoms. I can't feel nothing. I disagree. I think the Taliban's based. I think it was very funny how they their bosses had to make them stop doing selfies and stuff because they were making them look not scary. Awesome. They're just playing and having a good time.
That's true.
Question is it based to close a base?
Whoa.
Yeah, it is based to close a base.
I think so.
You debase the base.
Yeah.
I guess it's debased. You debase it.
Is that what based is short for? I'm very Cheugy about this.
It's short for I think it's short for free basing, which is a whole other issue in Afghanistan.
Yeah. I mean, it's from what I know, the situation now is not exactly based for the people of Afghanistan. I follow this guy, I can't pronounce his name, but who lives there and tweets about it, and he's not happy, but there was really no better solution. And someone had to do it. I'm glad it was Joe. I'm glad he had the stones to at least do that. Because he has a lingering sliver of Vietnam syndrome from his earlier in his career, in which America was skeptical of foreign interventions and occupations and stuff, and he let that linger back and overtake his decision making, which I appreciated.
This did shatter his public approval rating, which is ironically the only time I've approved of Joe Biden was when he withdrew from Afghanistan.
Did it? So
your average person is furious that we lost the Afghanistan war, which is crazy to wrap your mind around because we've been there for so long, but. Well, I guess people
I remember
thought it was going well or something. I don't know.
I remember the polling saying that people approved of the pullout, but then maybe all the subsequent media coverage just made Biden look bad, even though people agreed with what he did. Is that what happened?
I think people approved of the concept, but then seeing like people falling off an airplane on a video first thing in the morning when you wake up was actually very jarring, because as Americans, we like the concept of going to war, but we don't like actually any of the stuff involved with it, or like like experiencing any of it. And we're not going to go. We're going to send people we don't know over.
Right. So basically everyone was like, I would have done a better job at that. The old Trump thing where he was asked like, okay, you want to repeal Obamacare. What do you want to put in place? And he's like, we would come up with something that would make everyone very happy.
Yes.
Yeah. The withdrawal I would have done would have made everyone very happy. That's true.
I'm going to go eyes on the prize here. We need to move on to September.
Okay.
I don't know. It's going to take a long time to figure out what's going on in Afghanistan.
It's
we got a whole year to do it and a whole new baby next year to talk to about it.
We have a whole new baby to talk about Afghanistan with.
A whole new babe. Okay.
All right.
Sure.
You know what I'm thinking? Hi Damn America live show, September. We had shout out to everyone who came to that.
Oh, right. I was like, huh? Oh, yeah, we did that in September.
Yeah, that was a world event.
But yeah.
Oh, fuck, dude. Yeah, I went on tour in August, and then Delta happened and made it super weird. And then I came back, and we did our fucking live show for 9/11 Eve in September.
That's right.
Very fun. Thank you.
I will say, maybe just because I hadn't been performing the entire time, but probably the most fun I had all year was at the live show.
It was a really good. I think we put on a really good show. I'm very proud of it.
That was fun.
Sign up for the Patreon.
It's not
you
on
can
the
watch
list, but yeah, also it's on the Patreon. Okay, September world events. Texas Heartbeat Act bans abortion after 6 weeks.
Okay, what if the baby is over 6 weeks but their heart isn't beating yet?
Can you abort the New Year's baby?
Ooh.
The speed with which you would have to do it would be...
Some people would say that is basically what 2020 was. Because of the virus, that it doesn't count as a year. So Pete Davidson is actually 27, they would say. And whatever age you are now, you're a year younger.
Okay, well, so you can't abort the New Year's baby because, like, the New Year's baby right now is an adult. It was in gestation in the year before the New Year's thing. You know what I'm saying? Before the New Year. So if we were going to abort the baby, let's do some math. 6 weeks out of 12 months.
Oh, no.
Well, in Texas, you can only abort the New Year's baby of the next year. I guess in January.
So the baby, you can't do it after the baby's born. That's just murdering a baby.
No, that's what I'm saying. Of the year before.
Right.
You would have to.
Okay. So a month and a half equivalent in a 100-year span. So 1/12 of, oh no. Okay, well, I'm going to need a piece of paper for this one.
So the baby's being conceived like right now for next year. Kind of. Because it happens so fast.
Our mathematical system, ALEX, is crashing. It cannot comprehend this equation.
I'm going to do some math here, but talk about the bill and if you thought it was based or cheugy.
No, it was not very based because this is the one where turned people in Texas into bounty hunters. Everyone's an honorable bounty hunter now, and you can turn people into getting abortions.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you remember that? That was fucked up.
That was part of the bill. Jesus.
Yeah, it was a fucking famous ass. The big story was, and honestly, I'm kind of curious because I haven't really looked into it since then. But like, I don't know if that really panned out. Like, if people are doing that, because it might have been like a thing that's very hard to legally actually pull off. But did it include that? Honestly, this bill, when they brought the Texas abortion ban in, you know how many laws were in the Texas bill?
How many?
666. They did it like on purpose to fuck with everyone.
Jesus.
Fucked up shit is going on down there. But not based at all. I mean, they used a very base number, but not in a cool, not for good things.
Is that bounty hunter thing? Is that only for abortion or like late term abortion, or is that for other laws that you can enforce as well as a vigilante?
It's only abortion because what the law is if you suspect a doctor of performing an abortion, you can like turn them in.
You can just shoot them.
No, I think you have to like narc on them or whatever. And then someone did get busted for it a while back, but I'm not sure if it's. People were worried it was going to turn into like chaos, where just like. Because that's insane. It's like the Hunger Games or something.
I was about to say this would make a great movie.
Like, yeah, it sounds like a fucking movie. I'm not sure legally how it panned out, though. I mean, also, you had like lawyers and ACLU and people like that probably working.
They should make a movie with like based George Tiller, who was the abortionist who was killed a while ago, but he's just like in a constant shootout with like anti-abortion people.
He's trying to kill baby New Year's to stop.
Yeah.
Because he's like, every year is a dumpster fire. Every year is so much worse than the last. I'm going to find them. He's trying to stop time from moving forward.
Terminator.
Yeah.
George Tiller Terminator. Yeah.
All right. Time abortionist. That's fucking cool.
Yes. Oh my God. We got to write this into a log line and sell it.
All right. Alex, did you come up?
All right, I figured out that 6 weeks is 11.5% of a year. But then honestly, I mean, without like doing all the little dividers with the symbols and crossing out which words go where, I'm having trouble getting from there. This is just a heavy cerebral activity to how old a baby would be if a baby in 12 months aged its whole life, given a whole life is 100 years. 12 months, 11.5% of 12 months is, I just had this, it's like 1.38 months, but that's, I'm miscarrying something. We just don't know how old you'd have to, that baby in advance, you'd have to kill the New Year baby.
You're miscarrying something. Well, too bad that.
Shut the fuck up.
Alex, you're under arrest.
Yeah.
If I had more time, doing it live is stressful. Doing it live is stressful is what it is.
Oh, I've arrested you for, you get it? Okay.
Miscarriage.
Oh yeah, so that shit sucked. Extremely not based. Global supply chain falters, upsurge online. There's not enough big boats, but poor coordination of ports, leave products. Also not based. September, Cheugy, right?
September. Yeah. I kind of like the supply chain crisis, though. I think it's somewhat based.
I forgot to add this on the doc. 20th anniversary of 9/11.
Anniversaries are not an event. I'm going to say.
I think they are.
Otherwise, the whole outline would be full of random other things that happen.
Okay, but that's like a paradigm-shifting fucking situation.
In what
nothing
way?
happened except for our live show.
We already talked about the live show.
Yeah.
Fine. All right.
Eyes on the prize. October.
I say supply chain failing is based. Let it all burn. Okay. October. Pandora Papers. The highly anticipated sequel to the Panama Papers reveals that shit you already knew about rich people hiding money and that they're a bunch of assholes and there's enough money to solve all the problems except there's fat people sitting on them. I think that... I don't know. I think the papers themselves are based, but the fact that no one cares is in fact not based and somewhat cheugy. So I'm going to say the situation overall is cheugy.
Yeah, and I have to say too, I think the papers are a bit cheugy because, and I didn't dig too deep into them, but from the sort of summaries I read, there were zero like American billionaires or officials implicated in any of this. So it's very sketchy. I'm not gonna jump to any conclusions, but very sketchy that this was 100% like foreign enemies of the United States that were.
You don't think Americans are just paying their taxes because they love their country?
Yeah, they're complaining about that. Corporations are paying about that nominal tax that they don't actually have to pay. That they're so, threatened by.
Yeah, this whole thing bummed me out. I didn't like it. Cheugy.
All right, in fact, it is cheugy. We all have to admit that. Facebook crashes that one time in October. Remember that? That was fun.
That was really fun.
I really hoped it was dead forever. And then people were like, you can't be dead forever because WhatsApp is important. And it was like, shut up.
Yeah.
Who cares
I remember
about
somebody
that?
was like, I remember somebody sharing a screenshot that was just like a bunch of like blue numbers, like matrix looking numbers and stuff. They're like, this means Facebook is done. All those memories, all those photos you took at prom in 2008 are just eliminated now. And then someone else was like, this is literally just a bunch of numbers. This means nothing. And it's all still there,
If
unfortunately.
you show me numbers, I will believe them. Yeah, there's
For
a
a
whole
second, I
argument
was
that,
excited.
like,
I was looking forward to Facebook being deleted because I've posted so much Cheugy content on that website. It would have been nice to have a cleanse and have it all know that it's all gone.
I genuinely would like to never look at that thing ever again. And the whole concept that some people are just now getting added into it, it's like there's still time for you to not be part of this.
Yeah. No, and it was fun when it was down. Like it felt like Fight Club was happening or something. Like you thought maybe somebody did this on purpose, like a big hack. And it was, there's different types of social media people. There's like Twitter people and Instagram people. And I feel like it was, if you're a Twitter person, it was a very funny day because you got to laugh at like fucking chuggy old people who were like, where do I go to play Farmville? I need to water my plants. My verdict, Facebook down, Twitter up. That's the way we like to fuck.
That's the way we like to fuck. And that is Based.
Honey.
And now we move into the 11th out of 12th month of the year, November. The
Like
snow
85
is settling in.
I think we're in our 80s in October. So now the New Year's baby is like 92. They gotta be right.
The New Year's baby is in fact 92 in November, and they're very mobile for their age. They're still walking around and stuff. You can visit them. They're not, you can go out to a restaurant or something, but it's going to be a pretty low energy conversation.
Yeah. So November, what do we got? We got
okay,
Omicron.
So the big thing is Omicron variant. Discovered in South Africa.
Omicron.
It's spreading. It's faster than Delta or the Alpha COVID. And also, and this is the part that's annoying, is even if you're vaccinated, you probably are going to get sick anyway, which is, back in April, kind of like my big thing was like, I'm not going to get sick anymore. So I thought this was in fact chuggy because I'm back in my house again and I had to cancel my comedy show.
Yeah. It was a throwback, right? It was like we've done this before. It's chuggy. That's what Omicron is.
It's so chuggy. Omicron, you're chuggy.
Omicron, no one listens to Modest Mouse anymore. Omicron.
Yeah.
Omicron, you think Built to Spill is interesting? Come on, you're chuggy, man.
Get
It's all
outta
about
here.
100 gex now. As the kids call it, 100 gex. I'm young still. I'm hipping with it. You guys like 100 gex?
If you're listening at home, Jake is the youngest member of the podcast by some time.
I have friends with Pete Davidson. We hang out all the time. We're
General Z figure, Pete Davidson. General Z.
You just call it Generation Z, General Z. Wow.
Hey, wait a minute, we didn't like that one. Okay, the UN's COP26 meeting yields complete paralysis as energy companies dominate the international gathering to stop energy companies from destroying the planet. I guess it depends on your perspective there.
If you're an energy company?
Right, if you're an energy company, it's pretty based that you're still going to destroy the planet.
Honey.
Yeah.
Destroying the planet is base.
Yeah, that's very cool. I mean, it's destroying it slowly is chuggy, but if you're just put us out of our misery, that I will call you based for.
Yeah, when are you going to put us on one of your big oil platforms and blow us up?
That's a good point. You know what else I found very chuggy about November? The people of Buffalo totally fucking blowing it.
Right.
They had one candidate on the ballot who would have changed, hopefully, the political order in New York State, in their city, actually started to deliver some things for the people and reverse decades of austerity and police insanity. And they fucking muffed and voted for this corrupt piece of shit who's been in there forever. And they even had to write him in. You couldn't have just circled the fucking thing, and I blame the voters on that. I know that I shouldn't, but that is my final answer for now on the people of Buffalo. They are
Anders,
Cheugy.
it's somewhat chuggy of you to blame the voters in this tragic display of the effect of money on our politics. But also, Buffalo's mayor's election, not really a world event, so I'll let you have it.
I think it would have been international news, but
Would have been internet. They would have been reading about this in Chad.
In a way, an event of November was the 1999 election. Let's discuss. It was very based.
The 1999 election.
Yeah, when Bob Dole
Who's
ran
there?
for mayor of Old Bitchton.
I mean, it's actually the anniversary of it in November, which we've
Right,
discovered
that
is
was
you
the-
can hack any event into this conversation.
There you go. That's
Saying
true.
It was the anniversary of something in a month.
Yeah.
One of
All
the
right,
month.
everyone.
Let's discuss for about half an hour.
We've done
Well,
this in
we're
around.
going to have to do an hour about how Bob Dole died in December, right?
No, we're not. Eyes on the prize.
I was about to
there.
congratulate us in how short a time we managed to get through this, because normally when we set out to do a long list like this, it goes at least for like 4 to 5 hours. So this is really good. We're on the twilight years of the year in December. The cold embrace of death as our baby is 100 years old, waddling towards its year coffin.
yeah. It's like it has to crawl into a casket and like pull the thing. And
That's
then-
part of being the year, is you're not buried the same as humans. It's kind of expected that you take care of that shit yourself.
Where do they get the new one? Does it come out of a pussy? Okay, let's.
There's an egg. We
Okay.
can't get into it now, but an egg is a big part of it. In December, surprise tornadoes in the winter that aren't usually there killed 91 people in the South and Midwest. And I found that to be somewhat chuggy, because their time is usually in the fall.
Right. And tornadoes seem like kind of an antiquated thing in a way. You know,
Yes.
all of our disasters now, for the most part, are self-inflicted. And a tornado, there's not a lot you can do to prevent. You can prepare, I guess, and we probably didn't do that very well. But you know what I do find both based and chuggy is the term, and I like the term, tornado alley. Because it kind of has an old chuggy ring to it, but it is a
Kind of got a chuggy ring to it.
yeah, but it's a based concept, just an alley filled with tornadoes. I think that's quite cool.
I would be terrifying if you were in it, because there's no way out except through the tornado.
No way up and through.
Yeah, so that kind of goes back to the destroying of the world events from November, but I had to point that one out because I needed a good example for the year, and we didn't have everything catch fire again like we did in 2020, but I thought the tornadoes at the end were a nice little underline. And then this isn't an event so much as just a thing I thought I should put somewhere on this. In 2021, billionaires internationally add 1.6 trillion to their wealth. Now a total of $13.6 trillion of just people who have $1 billion.
Yeah, extremely chuggy. And now we're caught up to right now. That's
Does no one want to make an argument that it is in fact based?
wealth stratification.
Yeah. Well, it depends who you are. If you're like Warren Buffett, this is actually the most based thing there is.
Yeah, no,
That's-
he's probably talking about how based it is on his podcast right now.
That's true. To compete with him, I think we should say it's chuggy. Also because it's ruining our lives in the world. And
Right.
kind of like in a roundabout way, making the tornadoes from before. Yeah, it's chuggy in a way that we're slaves to a shadowy cast of creepazoids. So I'm going to say chuggy.
Yeah, I'm also going to say chuggy because, like, when this pandemic began, I was like, well, shit, this is, like, bad for everybody. This destabilizes the capitalist system. Turns out they can find a way to accelerate their money-making capabilities even further when their workers are, being thrown into the fire and dying and getting infected and shit. They just managed a way to turn up the fucking heat on the money making machine. So like it's depressing, but it's I would say Cheugy.
I mean, if there's one thing you have to give it to these Cheugy creepos, it's that they're really good at making money, and so when the global order collapses, they're actually the first people to make money off of it, and they've made more in the last 2 years than pretty much every other sector of the world economy combined. Just the ultra super rich going away at home with the bag. Now that's nice.
Before we kill the baby, the 100-year-old New Year's baby, there's a few, I feel like, stories
We don't
that
kill the baby. That's not what happens. The baby dies of old age.
Oh yeah, I suppose so. The baby dies all on its own. There's a few stories that maybe fell through the cracks. Bezos went into space in July. That was during one of the Cheugy months. What else happened?
I think that was maybe one of the cheugiest things of the year, him going to space.
Yeah.
I was watching that one like, sheesh.
Fred Durst reemerged from his Durst cocoon as a weird jazz albino. It's pretty based.
Yeah.
I can't judge on that front.
Dune came out. Dune was pretty based. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that happened this year. I feel like we missed some major things, but it doesn't matter.
You can only cover so many on your Based Or Cheugy list.
Well, what do we do now? Do we make an assessment of the entire year?
We should make an assessment and then maybe sing a song for the baby New Year to come in.
Okay.
All right. Overall, I think the year in toto, rather Cheugy. Now that I've gone through it, the only thing I really liked was that boat at the beginning. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, this year sucked. Fuck 2021. It was a dumpster fire.
I'm trying to sell back my glasses with the 2 over my eye and the 1 to the side of my head because I can't see through the 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it'll never be like 2000 when eyes were clear.
The ideal year for glasses.
Yes.
It was unreal.
And actually, that whole decade, really good for glasses because any number you put on the end.
That's true. Yeah. You got double O's in the middle there.
We didn't know how good we had it.
They have to get really creative as the years go on with those things. Really, hats off to them.
3,333 is going to be very difficult for those New Year's glasses.
Hats off, glasses on. This is how we fuck on the New Year.
So yes, the year was Cheugy, and what are we singing a song now?
May old acquaintance be forgot, whether they are Cheugy or based.
Goodbye, 2021.
We did it.
2021.
Nice.
Oh man, that was a good past voice. You sounded very far in the past.
Thank you.
Okay, well, so long, creepy old 100-year-old 2021 baby. You had a really shitty life. I'm sorry that's all you saw before you died. Yes. But you're old now.
And Happy New Year to the listener. We couldn't do this without you.
Yeah, happy birthday to the New Year to listeners. You're the babies.
You're the babies to us. And you're the year in a way.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna end it there.
2021, it's finished.
Plugs. Okay, hi. Hey, I'm throwing a live show in Brooklyn in Greenpoint, Williamsburg at the Gutter is the name of it. It's a punk bar. It's also a bowling alley. It's on January 18th. It's also the week of my birthday. I'm having a bunch of my friends do stand up, and then we're gonna hang out and drink. Alex is on the show. A bunch of other cool comedy pals are on it. Buy tickets in advance. I think Omicron's out of the way-ish. It's in a few weeks. It might get canceled if another Omicron thing happens. But please get tickets in advance because they're cheaper in advance. Okay, it'll be in the show notes. January 18th, The Gutter, comedy.